Hello all, welcome back. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about what I've been doing to plan my 2023 garden. I designed and printed this garden planner. It took many hours, but I'm really specific on the tools that I want for planning my garden. So I wanted to go through a little bit, 2 numbers that I find very, very useful. There are things I am really particular about with my garden planner. I like a lot of space to write in each day, and obviously places to keep track of tasks, both large picture and smaller picture. So today I'm just going to show you exactly what I put in my garden planner and why. You can either make your own garden planner, or this one is available for instant download if you just want to use this one. So right off the bat, the 2 most important things I want in my garden planner are the numbered week and the numbered day. So every single day is assigned the number 1 out of 365. And the reason for that is because I find it really helps with planning when it comes to planting seeds. So for example, let's take this zucchini squash. This one is from Johnny's Seeds. I am really looking forward to checking out some of the other seed companies that you guys have been recommending me, but I've just used Johnny's Seeds for a while. On the back, there is all this planting information. The 2 most important numbers for me are going to be how soon to start the seed and then how many days to harvest. So one of the first things it tells me is to start the seeds indoors in cells 2 to 3 weeks before moving them outside. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to my last frost date, which I have labeled here. I labeled my last frost date. Yours will probably be different. And then I'm going to go back. I see this is week 19. So I'm going to go back 3 weeks to be safe. So 19, 18, 17, 16. So then I'm just going to go back to week 16. And now I know that this is the week I should be starting these zucchini seeds indoors. So I'm just gonna pick a day. Let's say Monday. I'm gonna write start zucchini. So then I know to start the zucchini on this day. Now I also know that it is 50 days to harvest. Some people will plan it from the day that you start them. I find it's much more accurate to plan it from the day or from the last frost date. So my last frost date is roughly day 127 out of the year. So now I'm just gonna add 50 to that number. That'll take me to 177. So now I just go to day 177, and I know somewhere around this time I should be looking at harvesting these zucchini. So I'm gonna say, to give it a little bit of space, let's say make sure to harvest the zucchini on Friday, June 30th. So I'll add a harvest section, and then I'll add zucchini in here. This is gonna really help me stay on top of my harvests. The other thing it's gonna do is if I'm seeing clumps of harvests, I can spread them out a little better. I find it's easier to keep succession planting under control this way. By the way, I keep all my seeds in a binder, kind of like baseball cards here. I find it's a lot easier to keep track of them that way. So I'll link everything I use to organize my seeds below, and the planner, of course, but in case you're curious. So the next one we're gonna plan is this Pretty Cosmos seed packet. This is from Floret. All the planting date information on this one is nicely organized in a chart. So these Cosmos, it's telling me to sow them 4 to 6 weeks before the last frost. So I'm gonna go to my last frost date. I should probably just add a tab on this one. That's kind of the nice part about printing it yourself. I could just add a sticky tab, or I could have it printed professionally with a tab on there. Again, my last frost day is week 19. I'm gonna subtract about 6 weeks from that. That's gonna take me to week 13. You see how fast that was. And then I know this week sometime is when I want to plant my Cosmos. So I'll say start Cosmos. And the reason I like to do kind of a section of start, harvest, transplant is because then I can do them all in one day. So if I go to another plant and I see that that one needs to be started 4 to 6 weeks earlier also, I'll just lump it in here so I do them all at the same time. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back to my last frost date. It says it's 70 to 90 days to harvest. So then 75 to 90 days. So I'm gonna look here, I'm at about 127, so that's gonna take me right at about 200 to 220. So I'll say right around 220 is when I should be harvesting Cosmos. Of course, if I see them earlier, I can harvest them earlier. So this week sometime I'm gonna wanna make sure to harvest some Cosmos. So let's say Tuesday. I'm gonna say harvest Cosmos. Again, I'm probably gonna see that the cosmos are ready for harvest with my own eyes, but the reason I wanna write it all down is because I don't wanna forget anything. So that week when I go to my to-do list, I'll see all the things that I planned weeks ago that need to be done, but I'll also have filled in a lot more things that need to be done for the garden itself. There are some bonus pages in here as well. For example, I put in a seed inventory, a succession planting tracker, for example. My carrots, I have the dates that I'm gonna sow carrots so I can harvest them in succession. So I have some on April 15th, May 15th, June, and July 15th. So as you guys can see in here, already put to sow carrots on April 15th. And then based on the sowing days, I have various harvest dates for carrots. So one of my harvest dates is going to be September 4th. So I have that on the calendar. So on Sunday, September 3rd, when I'm starting my week, I'm looking through everything. I'll know, okay, I have to at least check the carrots to be harvested today because there's a good chance that they're going to be ready. Another thing I have is a seed inventory, just kind of taking stock of the seeds I have. One thing I'm improving on this year is I am not buying a whole bunch of new seeds. All these seeds that I have here are left over from years past, and there are so many in here. I think one of the fallacies that new gardeners are told is that seeds are only good for a year, which is so not true. I've been having really good luck with germination, with seeds that are years and years old, especially as long as they come from a reputable company. So, or if you saved the seed yourself and took great care in storing them. That's one thing I'm doing is instead of buying a bunch of new seeds and throwing away old seeds, I'm taking seed inventory stock. Then I have some tracking pages for vegetables, herbs, flowers, and fruit. One thing I know that I want to write down right now that I need to do is that I need to take stock of my raspberry plants. I believe I have 25 of them. And I'm just gonna make a note in here to prune them in the spring. In fact, I'm going to go to my March tasks. I might have already done this. Prep garden beds I have under March. Another thing I'm gonna add is to make sure to prune the berry bushes. And then once I have a good list here, I'll probably go in to the monthly view on the back, and then I'll just start organizing them. But I need to take better stock of kind of the task lists at hand. I've looked at so many garden planners and I found that number one, they don't have enough space to write because I really like to take one day at a time. I know it doesn't look like it's filled in much right now, but with the start of each new week, by the time it's garden season, these pages are gonna be full of things to do as we're actually closer and things are growing. So I always like a lot of room. And then I really wanted to have each numbered day and each numbered week so that it's really easy to plan when to plant them and when to harvest them. And I can keep better track of succession plantings that way too. I also added some graph paper. If you do download the instant download printable, you can have it printed professionally or printed at home. The nice part about that is that, I only added 2 pages of graph paper, but if you want to use the graph paper, you can print as many pages of graph paper as you want. So that's kind of the nice part about having a digital form that you can print out. Speaking of digital, I know some people like to use those systems where you just kind of punch in the information of the seeds that you're planting on the computer and it will spit out kind of a timeline for you. That's all good and well. Actually, we had a company called Garden Savvy reach out to us about partnering and maybe us promoting them. I just couldn't do that because I really love to just do it by hand. But if you're looking for a digital planner, we didn't end up partnering with them, but that might be one to check out. The reason I like to do it by hand is I love to study each seed packet and write it out. There's just something about physically writing information that your brain retains it better. So that way I'm not so lost with all my plants when they're starting to grow. I'm already much more familiar with them. Long story short, I find that I have a lot less waste during the growing season when I have written it all out one at a time like this. I know it's more time consuming, but it's one of my favorite parts of winter. So I hope that you enjoy it as much as I do. I hope this was a little helpful for you. This is just My first garden planner that I've designed, I totally did these doodles myself and everything because I have just been taking things a little bit slower these days. So if you decide to download it, thank you, and I hope it's helpful for you. I would love to hear suggestions of kind of filler pages because I do plan on doing these in the future. Filler pages like, you know, individual plant trackers, harvest trackers, pest control. I'm curious what kind of stuff people want to see because this is just the first planner, but in the future I'm planning on adding more pages like that for 2024, 2025, etc. So please leave a comment below with what you would like to see in a garden planner in the future. I hope you are all having fun garden planning. I can't wait to check out some of the seed companies you all have been suggesting. Thanks for watching today, and we'll see you next time.